I think Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora was finally revealed. We knew they've been working on this game for since the Division 1 was announced. I feel like they've been working on this. Massive is the developer of the first 2 Division games. And I did not care about that first movie at all. Like I was like, man, I'm so bored. This is like Fern Gully in the Last Rainforest in the Max, right? Like
throwback.
Yeah. Man, Robin Williams is the Bat. R.I.P. It was good. That was talk about a classic movie.
Classic.
But this game looked absolutely phenomenal. I went to Disney World last year before the pandemic started, and the Animal Kingdom there has the whole Pandora that you can kind of walk through military camps, and then you can actually kind of walk up through the Blue Cat people's villas or whatever and ride the big flying dragon bird things and on a ride.
Using those technical terms.
I am.
I'm loving it.
Look, James Cameron.
Yeah,
he actually emailed me. We're friends. Jimmy. I call him Jimmy. Jimmy Blue sent me his script writing, and this is what it says: the Blue Cat people fly the dragon cat things that they control with this weird tail that comes out of their butts, and also I think they do weird things with these animals, but we're not going to get into it in this first movie that is explored in the third movie. So check that out. But man, this trailer really made the game, this world appealing and looked cool, right? Like, Avatar is like one of those movies that's like, this is a cool concept, but I don't need it in a movie, and especially a 4-hour one, and especially like a 7-movie series, right? Like, but the world is cool, looks beautiful, the colors really pop. It really felt like the movie, right? And in a lot of ways, since we're so far removed from the movie, it actually looked probably better than the movie. And I know this was like a CG trailer or whatever, but this game looks cool. I want to play this game.
It's certainly had you could tell that there was a lot of labor of love from the developers, that it wasn't, just a movie licensed game. It wasn't just like, oh, James Cameron wants us to do a game to coincide with the release of the sequels. This looked like the developers wanted to explore this world. They wanted to expand on this universe, and they were given the freedom to do that. It'll still probably release around the time of the second movie, probably. But to me, it looked like it could stand on its own. We don't need anything else, and I would be just as happy. And I'm like you. I didn't, I watched the movie and then it was like, okay, it moved on. It never captured me like some other fantasy world, like Lord of the Rings or Star Wars or anything else like that. But
yeah,
I'm glad that's the only one.
I see. For me, like I actually did really like like this world. It just, for whatever reason, it did for me. But I'm much more of like I think it was sci-fi enough for me that I. Because when it comes to like Lord of the Rings, I've watched all those, but like I've just never really gotten into that kind of world. I'm not really into the fantasy as much as the sci-fi. So like this did it for me. And then like like you, Corey, like I had gone to Animal Kingdom a little while before you had went, after they had changed all that. And like I was telling you, like, dude, like the Animal Kingdom, like the Avatar stuff was so amazing.
Dude,
like,
the
at night.
What is it? Flight of the Banshees or something, I think is what it's called.
Where
that
you
ride.
Get to fly on the back.
Dude, that ride was so
that
crazy.
Was insane.
Oh my gosh.
It was insane.
Dude, the way they like hooked you in, and like that, like even like the thing you sat on, like when you looked down at it, it like looked like the thing, and like when they were like flapping their wings, like it felt like your legs were being crushed by the wings because like they were flapping, and like Dude, it was so crazy. That ride was so crazy.
Yeah, it was good. It was like, and like, man, talk about like heart pounding, like those drops. Like, I mean, even though you're like technically just sitting on something, when it's VR like that, it's just and like you've got all the movement and the wind and things blowing on you while to make it feel like you're really doing it. It was intense. It was so intense.
I know. Stephanie, what were you gonna say? You were starting to say something earlier.
No worries. I was just going to say I'm glad I'm not the only one, because it's not like I didn't like it. I did enjoy Avatar, but I just didn't get what the major hype. And it's one of the highest grossing movies, right? Isn't it in the billions or something?
It is the highest grossing movie of all time.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to say. But yeah, again, and not saying anything that's different, you know, I am kind of this game has piqued my interest. I think it'll stand on its own. It definitely has the trappings of what would make an open world game, and I just don't see how it can't be.
I mean, judging by what they did with the Division, right? This feels like it's probably going to be some sort of weird loot thing where you go and upgrade your weapons. You know, I wonder if this is going to have some kind of weird faction thing, where like you could play as like the military guys, or you can play as the blue cat people.
That's what I was getting from that too. I know it's not, but I was getting a lot of like possible World of Warcraft type of faction type of split. You know, so you could play. You know, I don't think it's a MMO by any means.
Yeah,
but a single player type of scenario like that.
Yeah, there's two things that excite me about this game. One, if they do this right. Now, granted, maybe they don't. Maybe it's just its own thing. Maybe its own standalone thing. But one is like it's on next gen consoles only, right? Like it's on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC only. So they aren't having to like accommodate the older consoles, right? I know that's a big argument right now where like, hey, why are these new games coming out on older consoles? And it's like a business decision, whatever, blah blah blah. But the Division is still going strong apparently, right? Like a lot of people like that game. I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was a sci-fi show on TV called Defiance, and they made a game that ran alongside the TV show. And whatever happened in that season of the TV show affected the events that happened in the game. Now, granted, both failed spectacularly, but that concept of, you know, the TV show affecting the game and then what happens in the game affects the next season of the TV show was like a really interesting concept that nobody had ever attempted before. And they actually got through 2 seasons of the show, and the game went on for 5 years, and that actually, like, they pulled it off in a weird way, right? If this game comes out during the second movie, right, and it kind of runs alongside the second movie, and they're making, what, 5 sequels, supposedly, right? Like
27 sequels.
Yeah. But like they could do some really interesting crossover things with the movies and this game where like the movie comes out, maybe there's some kind of event in the game that, you know, crosses over with the movie, and like, hey, the characters from the second movie are now in the game as NPCs. They give you quests, you do missions for them, they go on missions with you. Maybe you try to save them, and like some of the missions actually influence some of the storytelling that moves into the third movie or whatever. Like, there's a really interesting way that maybe they could do that. I don't know if that's possible in this day and age, and like, you know, games take so long to develop anyway, and they probably have some sort of roadmap. And I know James Cameron was involved a little bit with this game and sort of like fleshing out the world and making sure that this game was canonically correct. So I think that's really an interesting thing that they could possibly do with this game that you can't really do with a franchise if you're not planning it out, right? So I think it's cool.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
And that would actually just make me watch these movies if this game is good. I'm sure they'll be on Disney Plus at some point because Disney now owns everything. So,
well, if you think about it, it's kind of like, you know, like I mean, they could have technically did that with like Mass Effect too, where like how you like how things change in the game, like depending on what you do, and then those choices and that character, transferred over to the next game. It's like taking that but to the next level, where you're mixing it in with an actual TV show.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
That would be neat.
Yeah. And since it's the developers of The Division, I assume you can play this game by yourself or with friends, right? You could probably see other Blue Cat people running around the world, and you can wave to them and, hook up tails to each other. I don't know.
I want that to be their official name, just Blue Cat people.
I know. It's so much easier than, what are they called? What are they really called? Logan, fact check that for me.
The Tavi tribe or Kavi tribe.
Well, was it their tails or was it just their hair?
I don't know. It was something that was attached to them being inserted into something else that was attached to something else. So that's enough. I needed. Okay. No kink shaming on the Boss Rush Network there, Block.
No, I'm praising that. There's no shame in that.
That and twerking grandmas, I think we've definitely made a theme here.
Well, and choking your chicken.
Dude, we talked about the goose choking and duck giraffe stuff yesterday. Don't worry, guys. Instead of a really thought out interview from Celeste this week, you're getting our ridiculous pre-show discussions on Friday. So. Oh gosh, that's gonna be super embarrassing. It's fine. It's fine. We're an open book here on Boss Rush. It's fine. You do what you need to do, right? LaRon, I told him it was a bad idea to swallow on his date today, and look, now he's got food poisoning.
Jesus! Even I would make that joke.
So, it's
well, if I gotta go before we get a...
yeah, I mean, unless anybody really has anything to say about anything else that happened today, I think that this is gonna wrap it up, right? Like, I think Ubisoft was... How